Hi and welcome back to Warframe. So a while ago I did say I would go back and have a look at the Syndicate weapons and say which one out of all six of them I prefer the most. Because we have the Vacor Maylock, which is actually a pretty decent weapon. Steel Meridian did, I think it was called Justice, and that's the one that deals 1,000 blast damage that will stagger enemies, and it restores 25% of the player's health and provide an armor boost of 25% for 30 seconds, once you manage to fill that little symbol that pops up in the bottom right, that is. The Telos AK Bolto, which I cannot click on for the stats, so there's the stats on the screen there. Easy enough to do. They're obtainable, obviously. That's Arbiters of Hexis weapon, and they weren't that bad either. Arbiters of Hexis was Truth, and I think that was 1,000 gas damage. Yeah, that one also restored 25% of the player's health, but provided a 100% stamina boost for 30 seconds when that one would go off. Same thing for the Cyanoid Gamma Core from Cephalon Suda. This was actually the best of the weapons when it first came out, but it was actually that good of a weapon. Everybody had one, and they pretty much nerfed the hell out of it. Entropy from Cephalon Suda was best against the Corpus because it did 1,000 magnetic damage, restoring 25% of the player's base energy. That's the unmodded energy, because they did change that a little bit later. Same as the health for these two. That was the unmodded health, and restored 25% of the player's energy. And I think this one also boosted the energy by 25%, just in case you were maxed. Perrin Sequence's Sakura Jewel Sestra was probably my favourite for the longest of times. These are definitely up there because the damage isn't that much, but the fire rate and the fact the magazine's 100 with the right mods to increase the magazine size, these things can actually be quite brutal. Perrin Sequence got just called Sequence, and when that one goes off, it's 1,000 radiation damage for its area of effect thing, and it restores 25% of the max shields, and it also boosts the shields by 50% for 30 seconds. So that one is pretty useful for a pretty decent weapon. I still think, personally, that the Rakta Ballistica, even when it was rubbish, was still a pretty good weapon. Then they buffed it. They basically moved the puncture, or the damage that's now on puncture, off of impact back onto puncture, more like the normal one, increased it, and this became probably the most powerful of the Syndicate weapons. Has got to be the Rakta Ballistica, because not only that, it's also a silent weapon, so it's great for stealth missions until the Syndicate effect kicks in. There's that area of attack thing. Yeah, that's not silent. That will notify enemies you're there and pretty much ruin your stealth missions. Blight from Red Veil was also really useful, dealing 1,000 viral damage, restoring 25% of the player's base energy, and providing a movement speed boost of 10%. That's right, 10%. Was it? Oh no, I think it was Arbiters did 100% stamina boost. Gonna be fun to see what happens to that when update 17 comes out, because obviously there's not going to be any more stamina. So if you had an Arbiters of Hexis weapon and a Red Veil weapon, chaining these would be great. So hopefully one day there will be more of these weapons. Then finally came probably the worst video I did on any of these, because I accidentally went in with the normal Castanas, but the Sancti Castanas from New Loka were also a pretty decent weapon. They're better than the normal one. But yeah, they look nicer. I mean, the skin on them is actually pretty nice. They do look nice. The effect going off as well, that is also pretty nice. New Loka had 1,000 corrosive damage that would restore 25% of the player's max health, and provides a health boost of 25% to cover that in case you're at max health at the time. So that one also useful, but using that weapon all the time to get those to go off can be a bit of a pain, but for higher level missions, the weapon might not do that much damage to like level hundreds, but when the elemental stuff goes off, the 1000 corrosive damage is great against the heavily shielded people. So still has its perks to using that, even though it's not that useful of a weapon when it gets to the higher level stuff. The dual Sestra, which is on the left here, is a really good weapon, but comparing it to the Vacor Murloc, it just doesn't stand a hope in hell. So just hands down, the Murloc has got to be the best of the Syndicate weapons. For stealth missions, yeah, the Ballistica is the best. For everything else, Murloc. Just, it has to be the Murloc, because 35% status chance is just amazing. 20% crit chance is really good. It has 96 impact, 48 slash, which the dual Sestra has no slash. And yes, the puncture is lower, but not by much, considering it has still, again, 37% status. So once we actually equip it, I've got 1700 radiation, 2100 viral, 430 slash, 140 puncture, and 860 impact. That is pretty high numbers. Remembering this thing now has 100% status once modded, and a 47.2% crit chance, which is not maxed. I could probably get that higher. Of course, that does only do 1.5 times the damage, but yeah, 1.5 times 2100 is a lot of viral damage. And before anybody complains, yes, I know this build sucks. This is a pretty rubbish build, but this is just what ended up on it, and this is pretty much how I run it most of the time. I format it 4 times. It has 4 Vs. Under Jolt is the original D. I didn't take it off. I left it there. And a dash. I have Hornet Strike, Lethal Torrent, Barrel Diffusion, and Primed Pistol Gambit. Actually had to pick that up from somebody because I forgot to buy it from the Void Trader when he did bring it. I was going to, but completely forgot about it. So that was actually pretty handy to get a hold of that, because that's what increased it to 47.2, I think it was. Yeah, there it is. Percent crit chance. So that kind of makes the build, but it's mainly the elemental stuff which I got from Frostbite that you can get in this game somehow. Cannot find where the hell it drops. I'm trying not to look it up. I have been asked a few times. I've seen it drop for the melee weapon, never for the pistol, but that adds 60% status with 60% extra cool damage. Scorch will drop from Spy 2.0. I can confirm that because there's my second one, which is for the Sentinel. So I don't have a spare one, before anyone asks. I drop pathogen rounds in, just pathogen rounds, because I already had the 100% status by that point. If I take that out, 98.4 without one. So that's why viral is much bigger than radiation. And then just Jolt added to the end, which I think Barrow can sell that. Has a chance of selling that, I should say. Because he did bring the electric ones a while back. So they can all now be obtained in the game. Just some you have a waiting time, because the primed one and Jolt Barrow can bring, but it's going to be a pain. And that actually made this a ridiculously powerful weapon. Would love to jump in and actually add some gameplay to this, but yeah, I just noticed how long this actually is, so we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.